Elon Musk's Twitter has removed blue verified ticks for accounts previously deemed notable in an attempt to persuade famous and professional users to pay. Well, the move triggered outpourings of self-pity from many celebrities this weekend. It was actually quite nauseating, as well as considerable confusion as many blue ticks then reappeared, apparently at Musk's personal whim. Well, joining me now is Seth Dillon, the founder of satirical site Babylon Bee, which is a favourite of Elon Musk's. I'm going to talk to you contributor Esther Cracker, associate editor of Daily Mirror Kevin Maguire, and talk to you presenter Nicola Thorpe. Let's do a quick rundown. Who's got a blue tick? Have you paid for it?
I have, yeah.
You paid individually?
Yes.
And you did too?
I had one for years and then it disappeared and I paid to have it back.
Kevin?
I've got one, but I've not paid for it.
So we checked this out just now. It looks like your company, the Daily Mirror, my old paper, may have bought a company account and you've got one as an affiliate.
So I'm like an agricultural labourer with a tied cottage.
Yes.
I leave the Mirror, I lose my blue tick.
Seth Dillon, let me ask you, do you have a blue tick and have you paid for it?
I do. I had the legacy one and now I pay for it.
So my situation was that I've got about 8.4 million followers. I was curious, what would Elon do with people who've got really big follower accounts? Because clearly we have a bit of bang for the buck on Twitter. And the truth was we all got the ticks taken away. And then mysteriously yesterday, we woke up and found that everyone with, I think, over 1 million followers had their blue ticks restored, whether you paid or not. Now, I was quite happy to pay, but I haven't paid as things stand, but I've got my tick back. So what's really going on here? Did Elon just not get the kind of take-up from people with blue ticks he was hoping for, or is he just chucking stuff at the wall? What's going on?
It's a really good question. There's a lot of chaos and confusion. I mean, I wish I understood it. Honestly, I don't really understand why we're charging for verification. I do think there were problems with the verification system before. They were kind of handed out on favors. They were handed out. There were people who should have had them who didn't get them. So there were things that could have been fixed about that system, but abolishing it and charging people for it, I personally don't know what the value is to a regular user who subscribes to get the blue check. When anyone can subscribe to get it, what value does it really have? I mean, it conveys that you're not a bot, I guess, because you're willing to pay for something. You put a credit card down. But doesn't the substance of your tweets convey that you're not a bot?
Well, it does, but actually, I'm not
say?
sure about that. I think that when you saw them all stripped away from high-profile people, it was quite hard to know if they were the real one, unless you buried yourself into their feed. So I think it's the immediate identification of people who are who you think they are. And there are lots of scammers out there, as we know.
Well, that was
what
the
I was
value
struck
of the
by was that Elon
verification
actually
system.
direct messaged me personally, because I raised a particular issue, which is quite a few of the big phone operators in the UK are not supported by Twitter Blue. So you couldn't actually register to pay because they weren't supporting your phone provider. So he wasn't aware of this, and he replied to me, we're looking into this. Then he said that he thinks they fixed it. But before I could then go through and test that, my blue tick came back, which I think means that there's a balance, isn't there? Because when I see these famous people whining about it, paying $8 a month, it is pathetic. And also, I think they really do think they're the ones doing Elon Musk a big favour and the rest of us by being on the platform, when all of us, whoever we are in the public eye, we all get an enormous amount of value from Twitter.
It goes both ways. I mean, look at YouTube's model. YouTube's model is they share revenue with creators who are bringing value to the platform. And that makes a lot of sense. It means everybody wins because YouTube is bringing in the best talent, and the best talent is making money and getting rich on YouTube. Nobody's really making any money on Twitter. I mean, you can drive traffic to your website, but you're not monetizing on the platform. And so Musk has talked about finding ways to do that, but he really seems to be looking at generating revenue off these subscriptions rather than sharing revenue with content creators. I do think that there is a place for him to be rewarding those talented people who are engaging and are bringing a lot of people onto the site and keeping them on the site, making Twitter sticky. Those are the people that you want to be monetized and happy on your platform and sticking around no matter what silly mistakes you make or what you do, because it's just too valuable to leave it.
Right, let's come to the panel a minute. Esther, the problem Elon Musk has got, he's paid 40-odd billion for Twitter, and he said already the value's probably halved. So he's got rid of thousands of staff, he's trying different ways of monetizing it, but he's got to make it pay. Otherwise, there won't be a Twitter.
Well, yeah, he has to make it count. I think one of the things
Why should it be free? I mean, why is the grasping expectation of the world now that everything has to be free?
Especially because a lot of people actually spend hours on Twitter. So really, you should pay for it.
Getting great content for free, but also being able, in my case, to promote columns, to promote TV shows with all the residual financial benefit that comes from that, promoting books.
Yep.
I just think it's an absolutely a two-way street. And for $8 a month?
I mean, it's a
Kevin?
bargain, yeah.
Yeah, but he'd be making money out of you because you'll bring so many pairs of eyes, he can then sell
So
adverts.
it's a two-way street, but why shouldn't I pay?
Well, you can pay if you like, but
I
maybe
think it's also
others can't afford $8.
But it's also a balance, right? Because
Why?
back in the day, people used to complain that Twitter was too vanilla because it just depended on, ad revenue and sponsorship. But now it depends on the users who are actually paying to get their blue ticks and be verified, and ads as well. So you can have
All right.
a balance of
He's
the
blown-
Nicola, what do you
blown
think?
it,
I think
hasn't
it's
he?
so important that we have a proper verification process. The reason I paid for, well, I had a legacy account and was verified. As a women's rights campaigner, I had a lot of survivors come forward, whistleblowers come forward. They needed to know that I was who I say I am. So whatever happens going forward, I agree, I think it probably could be quite useful to have some people paying for Twitter. But aside from that, we need a proper, robust verification
I
system.
was impressed that he contacted me directly.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I
Yeah,
don't know.
but
I've never had any dealing with
but
him.
that's
But
all-
he directed me. We had quite an exchange about this particular issue. Obviously, I then asked for an interview.
Yeah, well, I bet you did. Yeah,
and didn't get a no. So, but I don't know. I think he's trying everything. And I do think Musk is one of those guys, as with SpaceX and as with Tesla and others. Early on, he had a lot of teething problems, but boy, did they come.
This was mad. This is a mad idea. And out of 400,000 people who were had verified legacy accounts, only 500, including myself, actually paid for it as a result.
Piers, I hope you get your interview, but it's also him contacting you shows he's running it in a very confused way without a clear strategy.
Or he has
very fat.
maybe-
Or he has a very,
All
very
over the
sharp,
place.
inquisitive mind about how to resolve it. Seth, before I let you go, do you, if you were a betting man, would you bet on Elon Musk still owning Twitter in a calendar year?
Yeah, I think he'll still own it. I'm not exactly sure who's going to buy it off of him. It all depends on what he ends up doing with it and whether he adds value. I think that he's gotten it to a place where he said it's basically cash flow net even, like it's breaking even at this point, which is a huge improvement over what it used to be. He laid off a lot of people and he can still run the platform. In that sense, he's running it better than it was run before. It's certainly a lot leaner than it was run before. I don't understand paying. Like, I get what you're saying about paying for the service. A lot of people, I would argue that we bring a lot of value to the service. So we're bringing something there already because we have a huge following and a lot of people who engage with us. But a lot of people who are using that platform, it makes sense for them to pay for it maybe, but why for verification? They're not even putting up an ID when they get verified. I'm not even sure what the verification badge means right now. The whole thing is kind of convoluted and confusing. But what Musk is doing is hysterical the way he's trolling these people. It's all entertaining.
Well,
no
the
matter
best
what you
one was
think about
Stephen
it, it's
King.
very entertaining.
So Stephen King was trying to score points by saying, I don't want this money because he gave him a free blue tick. I don't want your largesse. I want you to donate money to Ukraine. And Elon Musk responded by saying he's donated $100 million to Ukraine. That is a bit of a slam dunk. A slam dunk bit of trolling right there. Seth, good to talk to you again. Thank you very much indeed.